Good morning, class 12 students. I hope all of you are safe at home and following the rules of lockdown. Students, we are doing chapter number 1 of economics and our fifth topic is foreign trade under the British rule. Students, let's start. British converted India into a net exporter of raw material and importer of finished goods. It was all due to the discriminatory tariff policies of trade and tariff pursued by the British government. Student, in this paragraph, because the Britishers were using the discriminatory policy, different policies of trade, which were the policies which were benefited to them. That's why India became the net exporter of raw material. We were exporting raw material and imported the finished good, which is a sign of backwardness of Indian economy. So, let's start with the first point. Net exporter of primary products and importer of finished goods. India became net exporter of raw material and primary products like raw silk, cotton, wool and jute. See, India became at the time of British government was ruling us. India became the net exporter of raw material and primary products. On the other hand, it became a net importer of finished goods. Because we are having the lack of capital, lack of money, lack of machinery, lack of capital goods. India became the net importer of finished goods. All the finished goods were coming from the British, and the British industry created a market in Indian economy. Composition of export and import reflected. What does it reflect? Utter backwardness of Indian economy. That is a sign of backwardness of Indian economy. My second point is monopoly control of Indian foreign trade. Monopoly means when there is only one single seller and large number of buyers. That's what Britishers has done. During British rule, export and import of country came under monopoly control of British government. All the rules Britishers were ruling us. All the rules were made by the Britishers only. So what kind of rules they want? They becomes the rules that they have made is that they are going to sell it in the market. All the products, all the finished goods are going to be sold under the guidance of the Britishers. And more than 50% of Indian foreign trade was directed towards the Great Britain. We were doing business only with the Britain only. We are not doing any foreign trade with any other of the country. India's exporter provide raw material to the British industry, while Indian import provide a huge market for the British industries. India used to export all the raw material to the British industries, and India used to import all the British made goods. That was cheap at that time, and that leads to the decay of handicraft industries also. Third point is surplus trade, but only to benefit the Britishers. Now this is very important point, and it can be asked for the short answer question answers also. That India is having the surplus foreign trade, but still Indian economy is considered as a backward economy. This type the question can be asked in the board exam. Our export exceeds our import. It implies surplus of balance of trade. See, our export was exceeding import. That was a surplus of balance trade. It is good for the country, but our surplus our exports includes the primary goods, which is a sign of economic backwardness. Now these are also the important point that I am reading now. The trade surplus was not used for the growth and development of the country. Whatever the surplus trade, the benefits we are getting from the foreign trade, which was not used for India's country growth and development. It was Britishers were using that surplus amount of the business for the administrative expenses of the British government in India. All the administrative expenses were done by this. Expenses of war fought by the British government. All the war expenses are going from India only. So class, this completes your topic, foreign trade under the British rule. Now, we are going to start the sixth topic, that is the demographic profile or demographic condition during the British rule exhibited all the features of stagnant and backward economy. Explain. First point is birth rate and death rate. Birth rate and death rate were very high. 48 and 40 per thousand respectively, which suggests massive poverty in the country. Second point is infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate means death rate of child below the age of 1 year. That was very high. And what was the sign of Indian economy? It was a sign of poor healthcare associated with extreme poverty. That means that time we were having a poor healthcare facilities and extreme poverty in our country. Third is the life expectancy, average life of the person, which was low as 32 years. Now it is 68 years. So life expectancy reflects lack of healthcare facilities was not proper, lack of awareness as well as lack of means of to avail them. Even if the health facilities are there, people were not so poor that they are not getting the basic health facilities also. Fourth point is literacy rate. Refers to those who can read and write. It was nearly 16%, which was very low. And what does it reflect? Reflecting social backwardness as a reflection of economic backwardness. Students, now this regarding the demographic profile, question can be asked in this way also. Give a quantitative appraisal of Indian demographic profile during the colonial period. Students, I have prepared the notes for you and I have always told you that whatever underlining I am doing, I am highlighting all the keywords. These keywords will give weightage to your answer. All these underlying words give weightage to your answer. Please highlight these points and write down your notes very carefully. Thank you.